everybody, and welcome to More Than Just Business, powered by the Growth Coach of the Poconos. I'm your host, Franzo. With us today is Gwen Blake. She is a licensed professional counselor from Clinton, New Jersey. Gwen, welcome.
Thanks, Rick. So nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so nice for you to take the time to be with us. I've known Gwen for, I won't even say it, we're just going to say a long, long time.
It's like a blink, though. It's a blink.
Let's just call it a blink. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. The decades just melt away. Did I say decades? Terrible. Gwen is the owner of Birch Therapeutic Arts, again, in Clinton, New Jersey. She is a licensed marriage counselor,
I'm a licensed professional counselor in New Jersey, and I'm also a marriage and family therapist.
But you're licensed, you have so many letters after your name. I just have 3 and it's not even close. So that's why I was kind of squinting. Where am I with this? There's, got it. And that's just great. 20 years, more than 20 years as a counselor. So you work in a school district, plus you have your own private practice, right?
Yes. I do mental health counseling in a school, a 9 through 12 school, and I've had my practice. I had it a while ago, but with parenting and working, I let it go for a warmed up again about 3 years ago.
Okay, very good. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. How's life in New Jersey?
Life in New Jersey it's pretty quiet right now. We're all hanging out at home. I'm in my kitchen right now, nice. And usually life in New Jersey is a lot of bustling and hustling, and we live in a more rural area in Hunterdon County, so we're a bit far away from most of the hustle and bustle, and that's just fine with us because I grew up in the Poconos, so I like trees and I like to be around them, and it's easy to get to hiking trails around here, so that's all good. It's a nice area. Hunterdon County is really no different than anywhere else in the world as far as stressors are concerned, especially right now as we're forced into the need to social distance because we're trying to avoid getting sick and getting other people sick. So I'm encouraging. I don't like what we're saying about staying safe all the time. I feel like that gives us a sense of fear and frustration and limits, and sometimes some anger and sadness and things like that too. I'm encouraging people to say that we're trying to look for a sense of self and wellness, because right now we need to be concerned about the welfare and the wellness of ourselves, our families, and our community. So that's my personal mission right now, to stop saying stay safe, but just keep saying be well and stay well. And that sums up my feelings about the medical situation in our country right now.
It's really we never thought that we'd see anything like this ever. I mean, this happened in other countries and lands far away, but here it is, and we've had to get used to what we call a new normal, and we've had to pivot to see working from home. So let's talk about that for a moment, because that's one of the things that's a challenge for a lot of people. Not just if you can remote in from home to where you work, but school children are now being educated at home. So the parent is now taking more of a facilitating role and holding people accountable in their house for the schoolwork more than they were probably used to. And so that has to add a whole other dynamic of stress. How do you take off your, as you would put it, your work brain and put that aside and put on your, okay, so now it's my time off brain? How does that work?
Well, we who don't work in the home, I mean, many people who will probably see this actually do work at home. So they're probably a little better at this and a little further advanced than we are at doing what I'm calling changing your brain. We change our shoes when we get home. Sometimes we have to change our brains now very, very quickly. I myself, my household, we're both working out of the home, and we have a child who goes to school, public school. So now we have to, all three of us, be in the house and try and work that out together. I know a lot of households are doing the same right now, or parents aren't working at all, which is adding a whole another lump of stress onto everything that's going on. So the transition, I've never had that luxury of working from home. So the transition for me has been a little challenge. It's been a challenge. Trying to stay on a routine. I mean, I don't necessarily have to get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock like I usually do, but I'm trying not to sleep in until the minute before I have to clock into work. Because I can create a little bit of space for myself. I used to have an hour in between, work and home, so that I don't have anymore. So for me personally, and for everyone, I recommend getting up a little early and taking some time to, do some, prayer meditation, do a walk, cook a hot breakfast, if we don't get to do that on a work morning very much, or have a little family time, check in with each other, do something, set goals, family goals, and that sort of thing, and kind of go over your schedules. When do I have Zoom meetings? When do you have Zoom meetings? Because we've had several going on at once here, and it's, oh, be quiet. Oh, wait, there's all these things happening at our house at the same time. So we're trying to get ourselves on a schedule so we kind of know, and we can be respectful of who else needs space, and maybe one of us has to move into another room or something like that. And the end of the day is also something very different. As I said, I usually, and my husband also, we have hour-long commutes, just about an hour. So in that time, I think my husband listens to sports radio or something, so he gets caught up in things he's interested in. I love podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to sermons or just the radio, a CD. If I have to practice a song for something I'm doing, I could use the time for that. Or audiobooks. I'm a big Audible fan. So I love to listen to books, and that just sort of transitions me from my job to my house. And then I'm kind of, when I get home, I know I'm ready to parent. Now, when the clock day ends at work, I have not even a second. Like I close the laptop, and my daughter's like, okay, mommy, let's play. Let's do something now. So I don't have time to change my brain. I need to kind of, in my head, sort of start prepping for that. It took me a little bit by surprise at first. I don't know why, but just kind of getting used to the routine of changing my brain. So kind of prepping for that, and maybe even having a plan for, if I get done at work at 3 o'clock, at 3:30, we'll have a plan to do something. We can get the puzzle out, or we can take a walk, or we can, play dolls or whatever at that time. So everybody knows that, between this hour and this hour, there needs to be a little bit of a transition time, or maybe even I'll just go out some fresh air and take a walk to kind of freshen up my brain a little bit, so I can be ready for the rest of the evening.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's a way that adults and kids can really deal with the anxiety, and business owners as well, and professionals. It's hard to make that transition. Our commutes are now within seconds instead of minutes or even hours. So it does take a little while to get used to that. A question I had is, what would someone like myself be able to do? What's a good strategy, or how could I help someone that I see that is under stress or has a lot of anxiety? And, it manifests its ways in a lot of different types of fashions. One is even physically, you can tell by body language or by expressions, things like that. What would somebody who isn't a professional like yourself, what could somebody like myself do to help somebody that's under a great deal of anxiety or stress at this point?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you have, health, physical health needs, make sure they're taken care of. And even beyond what a doctor might be telling you to do, drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, and get a little exercise.
I keep my water with me all the time.
Good. Yeah, that's important. Somehow sitting at home, I've caught myself a couple days, oh, wait, it's like lunchtime and I haven't had any water to drink. Whereas at work, I'm up and down and up and down and up and down all the time. So, it's easy for me to grab my water bottle and go to the water dispenser and get some water. Even though, my desk is like right over there on the other side of the kitchen door.
Right.
Sometimes I just get, tied up in all the emails and, trying to make sure that I feel like I need to do because I don't see the kids that I usually see. So I'm trying really hard to be able to make them know that I'm there and that, even though they're home, they're not disconnected from the helpers that they have. So, we have to really be mindful of our physical body and our physical needs. I think, in a normal work day, we get breaks, what is it, a half an hour and then a couple 10-minute breaks is kind of the golden standard. So making sure that you take a little bit of that time, even if you're not taking 30 minutes to eat lunch at your kitchen table, have a little break. Don't eat at your desk. And maybe take a little 5-minute walk up and down the street just to get your eyes off the screen. I think the screen time is exhausting us right now. Everyone is working on a screen. And, it's tiring. So getting your eyes out into the sunshine and looking at the horizon, something further away down the street, anything, just kind of focusing. I think also throughout the day, keeping an eye on muscle tension. If you find, you're sitting like this because you're hunched up on a table that's not ergonomic, which, many of us don't have an ergonomic setup at home. This all happened so fast. We didn't have time to go shop at Staples. So taking some time to kind of lower your shoulders, loosen your jaw. Me personally, that's where all my tension is, like right in my jaw. So taking a minute to just loosen, even like tightening up some muscles and loosening it, and just so your body can get used to the difference of, oh, here I'm tight, here I'm loose. And that feels so much better. I think staying in touch with friends and family. We have, as much as I'm complaining about my eyes hurting so much from looking at screens all day, I feel so blessed that in this time we have the privilege of being able to see each other face to face in real time. I can call my parents who are up by you, and I want to be with them, but I don't want to be with them if I have germs to give them because they're older and I want to protect them. So I can FaceTime them whenever I want, and I can see their faces, and they can show me their cat. It's really fun to be able to do that. Other generations who have been through this didn't have that, and if they couldn't get to their family, they just had to miss them or maybe write letters if that was even permitted at the time. So I think we have that capability. And there's creative things that we can do.
Yeah, you're leading into where I was going to guide the conversation. Those are all awesome tips. And so we're not going to talk about marriage counseling because that's a whole show in and of itself. And I don't even know if I want to tackle that. But you are Birch Tree Therapeutic Arts. And so as we wrap up, I'd love to talk about some of the therapeutic arts that you do. And you have one that I've been following. It's called Zentangle. And I'd like you to please speak about that because I think that it is absolutely critical for us to find something that centers ourselves and allows us to make mistakes, right?
Yes. Oh, it's the best. I love it. Yeah, growing up, my sister Kelly, my sister was the artist of the family. So I always felt very, very self-aware or critical. I'll just say critical of anything that I did was artistic because she just had it naturally. I had to work really hard. And, I always recommend to clients, find something to do, find an art, find an exercise, find a craft, find something that you can do with your hands. And because that kind of is another thing that changes your brain. We live during our workday in our left brain, and then we need something for our right brains to do. Unless you're me, I'm like in my right brain a lot. So the Zentangle method, it's, other things call it doodle art or, Zen art or that sort of thing. But I took a course from the creators of the Zentangle method. And it was just fun. And I guess, I don't know if I could hold these up if you could see them.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a non-representational form of art that I mean, really, if you can draw an I, an S, a C, and an O, you can do the Zentangle method. And you just make these really crazy, cool, non-representative things. And, you know, some people incorporate that into more representational art, which is beautiful. And it gets some really cool, groovy patterns and everything. The beauty of this is it's so involved. And, you know, you really get out of your left brain into your right brain, and you get the flow, and you can, it's such a mindful craft, and you really just can get into it and get involved. And, you know, there's lines, there's shading, there's some inking involved, and you don't have to know art. And, you know, it starts so easily where you just put a dot in the corner of a paper. And, you know, while Zentangle has their own things, and, you know, we have starter kits available to people. I have them if someone wanted to take some lessons with me. You know, I could send a kit. It's like $10. It's not much at all. And then, you know, you can get to work, and you start with a couple of dots and a couple of lines, and there you go. You can use anything you have in your house, you know, a regular ballpoint pen or whatever. And the materials, if you do choose to get them, are very simple, you know, graphite pencil, a blender, some nice paper, and a micron or a Sharpie or whatever you have at home. It's just
Right.
a wonderful thing. I mean, you really can lose some time. And I like to keep my brain fresh and try different art techniques. And that makes me happy. You know, there's acrylic pouring that, you know, now they have stuff you don't even have to mix. And you just pour paint and then swirl it around on the canvas, and you get something cool and groovy and fun.
Then you can look into it and you can go, hey, so when I was 2, and then you can kind of go, right? That is awesome. It's you said something important. It was, you know, it's so good to lose yourself in that, because you have to really disconnect. We talk about disconnect from electronics, disconnect from the news, and so on and so forth. But if we can disconnect with, you know, a lot of the things around us and really kind of go inside of ourselves, I think that is really, that's a beautiful thing. And I think it's super important. If they wanted to get in touch with you, anybody who wants to know more about Zentangle or about Birch Tree Therapeutic Arts, how would they do that, Gwen?
At www.birchtreetherapeutic.arts.com, which I know is long. My telephone number is 908-386-4200. And my office is not operating in person right now. The doors are closed for clients at the moment, but I am available doing telehealth right now, which is super convenient, because if someone's a little bit further away, then you know, it makes it a little bit easier. So those are the 2 ways to get to me right now, and we'll come up with a time. My license is in New Jersey, but I'm working on a Pennsylvania one, because we're super close to PA. But things like Zentangle lessons, and I also do the Aroma Freedom. You know, those are things that don't require the license. So if someone needs something on that end, you know, we can definitely incorporate some things for relaxation, and I can, you know, happily help on that end too.
That is wonderful. Gwen Blake, licensed professional counselor and a friend of mine, and absolutely, you are amazing. Thank you so much for your time and joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Rick, so much for having me. This is an honor and a gift to be able to be here and talk about healing and wellness, and all the great things that are available to us, even when it's a really hard, scary, and difficult time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gwen's information will be up at the end of this show. This has been More Than Just Business, powered by the Growth Coach of the Poconos. I'm Rick Franzo. Enjoy your day. Stay gold.